Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Chantal and today I am going to be bringing back my midweek movies series where I talk about movies that I've recently seen and do little reviews or discussions of them. So that is what we're going to do today. Today I'm going to be talking about Steven Spielberg's new release, Disclosure Day. So this is his latest release. It's been out for less than a week. And I saw it and I have some thoughts and would like to talk about it a little bit. So that's what we're going to do today. This will be a little light on spoilers, I think. Again, when I do these sort of individual reviews or discussions, I don't want to, like, I'm not deliberately trying to spoil any major plot points or anything, but I am going to be talking in some depth about the performances and the ideas, especially behind this film, and how I felt about it and how those ideas resonated or didn't resonate with me. So you may want to avoid this if you haven't seen the film yet. I generally am of the opinion that if something interests you, go watch it first and then go watch other people review it or read other people's reviews of it. That's how I tend to operate, at least. So anyway, so yeah, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to discuss Disclosure Day. I will say off the top that I really quite liked this. I think it's one of Spielberg's best in a while. I am a big Spielberg fan, and I think that nobody does the summer popcorn blockbuster better than Spielberg. He's one of the best to ever do it, and I think that this one is a really good one, and I had a good time with it. I know this has been getting kind of mixed reviews, which, sure, doesn't everything nowadays. But yeah, I think for the most part, it really worked for me. I was emotionally moved. I was excited. I was scared at moments. My ass was glued to that seat until the credits rolled, and you could not have gotten me up for any reason. So it did what it was intended to do, for me at least. So if you're not aware, Disclosure Day is Spielberg's latest tackling of the idea of aliens contacting humans for the first time, and this is like the fourth time he's sort of done this general subject matter. Of course, he did it in the 70s with Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He did it in the 80s with E.T. the Extraterrestrial. And he did it in 2005 with his take on War of the Worlds. And I do think it's interesting to note that he has swung back around to some extent from what he was doing in War of the Worlds, which was a very sort of post 9/11 anxiety riddled alien invasion type movie, right? And the aliens in that are pretty straightforwardly hostile, and they're here to invade and kill humans. And with Disclosure Day, we see Spielberg swinging back around to the more hopeful, I guess, and earnest and thoughtful ideas that he had in the 70s and 80s with Close Encounters and with E.T., which I like. I really appreciate his take on it, and I'll get around to a little bit more detail about the ideas and the themes in this film a little bit later. But I do want to touch on a few more technical aspects of this film first. First of all, beautiful film, beautifully shot. He always works with the best cinematographers, the best production designers. Some of the camera work in this movie is I was just like, oh yeah, Uncle Steve is still firing on all cylinders. There's a great, wonderful shot where Josh O'Connor's like running around a fence and the camera's following him and we're seeing this whole thing unfold, and it's great. And there's another great action scene with a train that was really good. Just some really fun, tense action scenes, and some wonderful lighting. I appreciate some good lighting. It's very well lit. It's a lot better lit than a lot of movies and TV shows these days, in my opinion. So it was easy to watch, visually interesting. He dragged John Williams out of retirement to do a score for this film, and the music in this film really gives it a classic vibe, very classic summer blockbuster vibe. Lots of fun stuff in the score. Really liked that. And the performances are excellent across the board. I gotta give shouts to my girl Emily Blunt, who gives possibly a career best performance in this film. And I say this as someone who really likes Emily Blunt, and I've seen her in a number of things and I've always really enjoyed her, but she is really, really good in this movie. She is the standout. I think I would say she overshadows everyone else. I would say Josh O'Connor isn't bad in this movie, but his performance is wildly overshadowed by Emily Blunt, who is just exquisite, and she really runs the whole emotional gamut in this film, and it's beautiful to watch. She made me laugh, she made me cry, she made me really feel for her. I was with her all the way, beginning to end, and she has some just absolutely amazing moments in this film. And yeah, I've already read a couple of reviews on Letterboxd of people saying that she should get nominated for an Oscar for this, and she probably should. I doubt she will, but she probably should get nominated for an Oscar for this. I doubt that will happen, but it probably should happen. So yeah, I generally speaking had a great time. The ensemble cast is excellent, headed up particularly well by Colin Firth and Coleman Domingo in great supporting roles, and lots of other great supporting actors in this film. So like, I think it's good. I think probably the thing that I've seen the most often from people who have problems with this film are people who I think wanted it to explain itself a lot more. And I think that right now, I think Spielberg is not really interested in the nuts and bolts of like how all this stuff is happening. He's not interested in explaining the alien technology, right? This, I would say, is in contrast to something like Project Hail Mary, which is a little bit more of a hard sci-fi, right? If you're into the hard sci-fi, that's really big on like explaining how everything works, and this is how it's done, and this is how we're doing it, and all of the technology stuff, and blah, 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 and the math. That's not what this is. That's not what Disclosure Day is. Disclosure Day is definitely much more of a big ideas kind of movie. It's much more interested in higher philosophical questions than it is in the nitty-gritty of like, well, how does the alien technology actually work? How is the cover-up actually worked? Who actually are these people who are responsible for covering up and keeping all of this data a secret for all these years, kind of thing. It's not really interested in that. It's much more interested in these bigger questions. So if you're interested in the nitty-gritty and the nuts and bolts hard sci-fi kind of thing, then you probably won't be feeling Disclosure Day that much, I would say, because it's not that. But for me personally, I don't care for that stuff, and I am much more of a big ideas girly, and that is where Disclosure Day really shines for me. I think what Spielberg is ruminating on in this film is something that we all should be thinking about right now, which is, what does it mean when we completely sort of lose our trust and faith in each other? There's a moment in this film where I think a character pretty succinctly elucidates the entire thesis of this film, These two women are talking on the phone, one of whom is a nun, and the other of whom used to reside at the monastery, but she left the monastery. And the nun is saying, she says, you know, I don't think you left the monastery because you lost your faith in God. She says, I think you left because you lost your faith in humanity. Because this younger woman is, you know, she's very torn about the idea of disclosing to the general public and what that will do and what effect that will have on people. And she doesn't think it will be good. And her mentor, this older woman, this nun, is telling her, you know, maybe you should try to have a little faith in humanity. And I think that's kind of what Spielberg is doing with this movie, is saying maybe we should try to have a little faith in each other again. We've kind of lost, I think, that over the past couple of decades. We've lost a lot of trust in each other. And I don't know that Spielberg is really trying to say that we are fundamentally good. I don't know that he's that optimistic, but I think he is asking us to make the attempt. It feels less like a statement of fact than it feels like a plea. And that, I think, is what really stuck in my craw about this movie, because I think I needed to see that. I needed to hear someone else say that. And that, I think, is really important to think about and consider right now. I think it's really telling that this film opens on like a professional wrestling match where two guys are just beating on each other. It starts with this sort of, you know, this heavily staged and dramatized kind of violence, and this, you know, this sort of bloodthirsty audience sort of screaming and shouting at these two men. And it ends with an abjuration to just listen to each other. And yeah, thanks, Uncle Steve. I think I needed to hear that. So for me, this movie really worked. This movie really worked for me. You know, people, you know, lots of incredibly online people these days are really, really interested in like poking plot holes in every movie that comes out. But sometimes it's not so much about that as it is just about sitting with some ideas for a couple of hours, sitting with some ideas and considering some perspectives, and doing so in a way that is visually interesting and fun. And that is what Steven Spielberg is pretty good at, and has been for quite a while, honestly. He's been doing it since Jaws. So yeah, that's Disclosure Day. That's my thoughts on Disclosure Day. I don't know. I know some people have not liked it, but I'm in the camp of I think it's good. So let me know in the comments below if you've seen this movie, if you liked it. You know, maybe don't be mean about it if you didn't like it, but that's fine. Yeah, like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you would like to see more, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.